What is your current profit for this current year? And if you were operating in that old-fashioned way, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So how can you make a plan based on that? You wouldn't know what your tax bill was. You wouldn't know if you're busier or less busy than the previous year. You've got no idea.
Afternoon, Craig. Thank you for joining me here today at Florence House. So this latest podcast series is all about meeting the experts. So clearly we've brought in the accountancy expert this afternoon to answer some questions. Before I sort of ask you questions around accountancy, I really just want to explore your journey in the industry and where you've been to get to where you are today. So if you want to sort of open up on that question.
Okay, certainly. My background, I did a degree in accountancy and finance. From there, I joined one of the largest firms in North Wales on a 4-year training contract to become chartered. Stayed there for 16 years in total.
Wow, you don't look old enough.
And then after that, decided there was another way of doing things, a break from the norm, and decided to take the leap and start up on my own.
Excellent. How's it been since going it alone then? So has it been over? It's been
It's
over 12
just
months.
yeah. 1st of January 2019 we started. So
just over the 12
month
mark.
filming now is just over a year.
Excellent.
So yeah, it's been a roller coaster, every emotion possible.
I bet.
But I remember when we started, it was very much a case of, because we are so different to your everyday accountant, it was very much a case of educating people as to what we do and why we're different.
Right.
And we're starting to see the fruits of that labour now. People are recognising that there is another way and coming on board, and as more people come on board, the feedback grows and word of mouth expands and things
Excellent.
are going really
sort
well.
Of like self-perpetuating.
Yeah.
So here's the first question then on that. So you mentioned there, in your industry, accountancy, I know I've dealt with loads of different accountants over the years, for my clients and for clients that I've introduced to. There is a classical, traditional way accountants operate. Tell me how you're different then with the Profit Works and Celtic accountancy. What makes you different to the traditional way of being an accountant?
Okay, before I jump in to answer why we're different, I'll first give a rundown of what a traditional accountant might do for the people
Brilliant.
Watching or listening. So, historically, small businesses would run in a way where they would go about their business through the course of the year, collect their records, their bank statements and whatever else, sometimes in a shoebox or a bin bag or a carry bag, the classic story that you hear all the time. The year end would pass, they'd take their time getting it ready, they would take that box of records to the accountant would work on it for a couple of months, they'd call them in, they'd have a meeting, maybe 6 months after the year end, and then they'd say, this is your tax bill, see you next year sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to advise somebody on information that's already out of date. So what we try to do is we try to have more frequent meetings, more involved in the business, and advise you on real-time information. And the way we go about obtaining that information is by integrating our system with the client system through cloud software.
Yeah.
So the benefit of cloud software is that we have access to the client's information in real time. So coming back to the traditional method, a client would historically take a backup on a memory stick, take that to the accountant. There's two options then. They either have to not do any transactions the whole time that information is with the accountant, or the accountant's going to have a different information when it comes to amalgamating the two back together.
Yeah.
If the accountant wants to make any adjustments, he either has to send them to the client, or he has to go and attend the client's premises to make the adjustments. On the cloud, we're both looking at the same thing at the same time. If there's any adjustments to be made, we can make them straight away.
Right.
Same way, if there's a problem, we can answer the problem there and then. We have access to a live system. We don't have to say to them, send us a backup and we'll have a look at where you might have gone wrong.
Yeah.
So you're getting your queries resolved so much faster.
Right. And it's more relevant because you're dealing with real-time data rather than something that happened 6 months ago.
Yeah, so one of the things we like to say to people is, what is your current profit for this current year? And if you were operating in that old-fashioned way, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So how can you make a plan based on that? You wouldn't know what your tax bill was. You wouldn't know if you're busier or less busy than the previous year. You've got no idea. So how can you then guide the business when you're always looking backwards?
So you're doing more than just submitting someone's annual accounts then and saying what your tax bill is.
Yeah.
You're actually playing almost like a part-time FD role within a business. Even at a one-man band level, you're able to give some steer and say, actually, you can make pension contributions, which would be, value to me as a financial advisor. You're saying, actually, you can take this person on because you've got surplus cash flow coming through. Yeah. So you're able to, be much more active in a business's success, which I think is key, isn't it?
Correct. There's so many things you can do once you tap into the information. You can drill down by product if you're selling various products. You can drill down by industry if you're serving a lot of industries. Each business is unique, and there's no one-stop shop or one solution fits all. So by having that individual information is where we can really sort of add value.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, I can really endorse that because we're cloud-based. Our files and reports are on the cloud. So one thing we can do, which is sort of similar to what you're saying, is collaborate on a report. So, two members of the team could be looking at a report. One might be working from home, one might be here in the office, but you're still able to engage and get the work done. Yeah. So that for those clients then that have an adverse opinion of the cloud, because there is still this fear, I can't touch it, it's not on a hard drive, it's not on a CD, it's in the clouds. Is it safe?
Yeah, this is another common misconception people have. One of the main worries people have is they worry about the security of their data.
Yeah.
And I can't vouch for all cloud products, but I know certainly the products we use, they all abide by the British Banking Code of Security. And what you will notice going forward is more and more bank lending will be based on management information.
Right.
So if you go for a bank loan or an overdraft in future, more and more they're going to ask for some real-time information. They're going to want up-to-date management records. And if you're a box of records to the accountants once a year after your year end, you may find that your credit is struggling.
Yeah, and you struggle to get lending. That's a good point, because any small business potentially might need some lending in the future, so it's worth knowing that. Okay, so if we park the digital aspect of your business to the side, then so we know you're using technology, you're switched on with how it can benefit clients. What do you think are the other reasons why clients are attracted to your business? Because clearly you've got new clients coming to you. What are some of the other advantages that you offer versus a traditional accountancy practice?
Where I was previously, it was a big firm, 50 or 60 employees, a big multi-million pound business.
Yeah.
And it was very much a case of do as many clients as fast as you can.
Right.
Okay?
A volume business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we like to do differently here is we like to think of ourselves as part of the team of your business. So we like to get involved and we like to advise, and it's much more hands-on.
Yeah, than a traditional, we'll see once a year.
Yeah.
Great. To expand on that slightly further then, how have you found the benefits? So I said this to Emily earlier, we're part of Celtic Connect, so we've got Celtic Financial, Celtic Law, Celtic Accountancy, powered by the Profit Works. The three of us, how have you seen the value of your clients and our mutual clients that we have?
I think, although I can't take credit for the idea, I have to take my hat off to you. I think the idea is incredible. I think it is certainly the way forward. It's win-win. It's better for us. The transfer of information is so much easier. We meet regularly. I know what's the latest goings on in financial business. I know the latest going on in the legal business.
Yeah.
And likewise, you and Emily will know what's going on from a tax perspective. And also from a client's point of view, it's so easy for us to work together. We can have one meeting and deal with all 3 points in the same meeting. There's no, oh, I'm going to go see the accountant today. I might get the message jumbled up a little bit, Chinese whispers, when I see the solicitor.
Yeah.
We're all there in the same room.
Yeah, I think that's been the big benefit for me is, and I've done it loads, haven't I, Craig? I've sent you emails, I'm asking you tax questions, got this client, they've got an offshore investment, or the client's coming back from overseas, what's the tax position for them? It's so valuable to have that knowledge because, don't get me wrong, we have a good understanding as financial advisors on tax, but we are not tax experts, and as you've just said there, things change and things are changing at such a rapid pace. It's good to have those expertise to pull on.
But it's not just that, Rob, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, go for it.
It's, I might get an email from you and I might start typing a reply and I might think, I need to know that Rob understands this. So I'll get up out of my chair, walk down the corridor and come see you in your office and talk about it face to face.
Yeah.
It's so different than,
it is so
what
different,
other people are getting, yeah.
But again, as I stressed before when I was speaking to Emily, this is not an exclusive relationship where we don't see other advisors or other accountants and other solicitors. We do. I just think it's the fact that we have this family office for the right client. Yeah. It's helpful, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. So going forwards then, if you get your crystal ball out, question I've asked everyone, where do you see your accountancy practice going in the future? Any sort of major challenges you think you're going to have or anything that you want to sort of build on that you're already doing?
Okay. So one of the things, I touched on it before, is a lot of what we do, because we are so different, is all about educating people. I'm also incredibly passionate about cloud accounting and I see all the benefits of it, and I know, hand on heart, that is where the future of the industry lies.
Yeah.
So one of the things we're doing is we're trying to promote that message to as many people as possible, educate as many businesses as possible, because we want to see North Wales thrive. Yeah, a thriving North Wales can only be good for everybody. And if my little bit of accountancy knowledge and bookkeeping, streamlining and integration can help North Wales businesses, we're all for it. So one of the things we're concentrating on is getting out and educating people through road shows and workshops and things like that.
So on that point then, you've mentioned workshops. We are starting here in Florence House to do monthly workshops which are free, limited to 12 seats, which is the capacity for our boardroom here. So you're kindly doing a workshop on cloud accountancy in March, is it?
Yeah, March or April. We're going to tie in with the start of the new financial year. So new financial year, get your books ready for the year ahead. We'll give you a broad brush approach of what cloud accounting is and the benefits in more in depth than we can do here. Give you some examples, some demonstrations, and hopefully get you on the way to set yourself up for a year of cloud accounting.
Excellent. Last point I wanted to make, Craig, which I think is really important, because I've got clients who've got good stories and bad stories about accountancy. One thing that really comes up a lot is the cost of service. Traditionally, I found that a lot of accountancy practice have been quite expensive for someone who just wants some annual accounts. Do you think cloud accountancy can help lower those charges? And where do you see yourself in regards to expensive accountancy? Do you think you're at the low or high end of the traditional accountant?
It's a brilliant question. And the historical misconception that people have about software has come from the historic old school software where people would sell a license and that would be it. The same way as we're more hands-on, the software providers are more hands-on now. They're always tweaking, improving, looking for feedback, looking for ways to make things better. And like you said earlier, the tax environment is so fluid nowadays anyway. There's always tweaks that need to be made. So the software has gone down a monthly subscription route, and the monthly subscriptions are very reasonable. It's not cost prohibitive anymore. The technology's come down. One of the things we haven't mentioned, as we'll mention in the workshop, is AI, artificial intelligence and automation and machine learning. These things will help you with your bookkeeping. And these are available now to small businesses, whereas in the past they were only there for medium or large businesses. So it's all these things to take a benefit from, and the cost is coming down, so it's win-win again. In terms of what we do, it's very hard because some people are being ripped off by their accountants. They're paying over the odds for a poor service, and it's very much like changing banks. People are reluctant to change accountants. They've developed this relationship for them, and they don't really want to look elsewhere.
Even if they're not happy,
they
still have that mentality, don't they?
Yeah, they do, yeah. And they sometimes think it's not worth the hassle to change. It's so straightforward to change nowadays, especially if you're from a regulated accountant to another regulated accountant. If you're from someone who's maybe less scrupulous, it can be tricky, but because we're regulated and the majority of people are regulated, it's straightforward. It's absolutely not a problem. Coming back to your question on price, because the AI and the automation takes care of so much of the manual data entry, there is a possibility there of reducing your fees, but there's also more than that. It's a possibility of keeping what you're paying to the accountant, paying for advice rather than paying for bookkeeping,
which will add further value to the business.
Exactly.
Yeah, excellent. Oh, I think that's well answered, Craig, to be fair, because we have this debate all the time that is it worth paying for advice? Yeah. And I think there's certain circumstances in life, such as making a will, setting up a pension and getting your accounts right, and the financial planning within your business right, it means everything. So in those scenarios I think it's worth paying for advice, but it's for people to make their own decision, isn't it? So
absolutely.
Thank you for this afternoon. Thanks for explaining a little bit more about you and where you've come from and your business and how you work, especially cloud accountancy. And look out for that workshop that's going to be March, April time. And exciting things to come. So thanks, Craig.
Thank you.
Cheers.